So you want to start, yeah?
Yeah. Gentlemen, I'm the only authority you'll need. I point, you shoot. Did you kill the target? Of course you did. Things over there were different. What we were doing was wrong. You did what you were supposed to do, right? Now the only person you're punishing is yourself. Frank Castle, I got something I need to show you. Flash out video files. The U.S. military third general hitman, Frank.
I'm looking for Frank Castle.
The Punisher.
I think he knows about my case.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome once again to Agree or Disagree, the podcast. We are here in the Inspiration Lab of downtown Vancouver Public Library, reviewing, I think a rather controversial, in a couple of different ways actually, series, The Punisher. One of another Marvel piece following the Defenders. If you remember at the end of the Defenders, if you saw the Defenders, they gave a preview of the Punisher on the final episode and set us up on the way for Punisher. With me is Hans Potter. We reviewed Justice League. It seems like a few days ago.
I know, just right around the corner.
Right around the corner, and we're here again. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Getting over a bit of a cold.
All good. I'm masked right now, so no, I'm just kidding. So, like Justice League, we are spoiling this. So, if you've not completed The Punisher and you are upset by some of the things we end up talking about, that's on you, not on me. I've warned you.
Yeah, don't try to punish us for it.
Yeah, don't punish us for your mistake. Get it? Ha 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 ha. But we are going to get through this, and we're going to talk about this. And, you know, I mentioned controversial, because I think, for me, the standard of these Marvel series, Hans, has been Daredevil Season 2. I think, of all of the stuff that they've done on the Netflix, I think Daredevil Season 2 was the best. Because,
really?
Yes.
Because I would have said Jessica Jones.
Really? Okay. I'll defend Daredevil Season 2.
Okay.
And I'm not saying Jessica Jones was terrible. Because Jessica Jones is up there in, like, what Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, in my opinion, have done are really set the bar for where Marvel is going. Then something happened with an iron and everyone forgot. But then, you know. But Daredevil Season 2 had a way of set a lot of stuff up. Because it set up your Defender story. It set up, really, the Punisher story. It gave the backstory to Punisher. And it enveloped, in 13 episodes, a lot of different plots and kept things moving. Now, before we get into Punisher, tell us why Jessica Jones is your standard.
For me, Jessica Jones was the most solid, casting.
Yeah.
Almost all the Marvel shows. B, the performance was the most natural, the most well-received, and the storyline was the most clear. And in fact, I will say that I like Daredevil Season 2. I know people who haven't liked it. But I didn't realize till I started watching Punisher how much I had forgotten about Season 2 of Daredevil. Yeah. I haven't forgotten anything about Jessica Jones. That show really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, because, there was a lot. I actually had to go back and watch a little bit of Season 2 of Daredevil because there were things I forgot, but there were some things that were brilliantly connected. The two controversies I think are here is there are people that are putting The Punisher on the top of the list of one of the better Marvel shows. I'm not going to be one of them. And that's the first part. So we'll talk about the quality. I guess maybe the political part that I think people are getting angry about is their approach to guns.
Right.
Which, this is the Punisher.
Yeah.
For them to have anything other than what they had, I think would be somewhat of a surprise. They may have had a poignant point, opportunity that they missed.
Mm.
I think that is a correct thing. But also, they addressed some things that I don't think we get talked about enough. We don't talk a lot about PTSD and Marine.
And especially the American soldiers kind of being left behind and what their lives are like.
Yeah.
But I feel like out of all the series, Punisher was the one that had the best platform to talk about those kind of things.
Yeah, and the most timely.
Yes, and I think it is absolutely just the most relevant of the series. Out of all of them, is Punisher coming in and talking about these really dividing, divisive things in America right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially with guns. You know, we talk about who is Punisher without his guns, right?
Yeah.
All his variant covers, he's holding some massive gun,
Mm-hmm.
and he is an American fantasy. You know, he's the American fantasy of every American gun owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the bad guy gets stopped by the badass with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Punisher is the ultimate platform to really have that conversation of who should have guns. And I feel like Punisher really kind of leaned on the pro-gun. It was very pro-gun.
Yes. And there was the scene in episode 10. Was it episode 10 where they did the whole view of everybody else of how Ori was shot?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes. And at the beginning of that scene, Russo goes to Ori, "You've never held a gun. And it's funny how now you need a gun."
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
You need armed, not just a gun, but guys with huge guns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they made that senator such a Weasley character.
Yeah.
He's not even a redeemable character. He's horrible, and we don't like him as people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if the goal of the Punisher series was to promote a pro-gun initiative, but they did a good job of it.
Yes. Yeah. I would agree. And I think maybe we're too Canadian to understand that point of view.
Right.
Or maybe we're we're just seeing too much in the news that maybe we wanted something different.
Mm-hmm.
But yet at the end, there was something kind of poignant in that. And how we're going to spoil, but I'm not going to do it yet, how he ended Russo wasn't with a gun.
No, and I will say the end of Punisher, the level of violence they brought it to,
mm-hmm.
was kind of what I wanted the entire series, and what I felt was missing from the series.
Yeah.
Was that level of just brutality.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if it's because it's on a TV-esque. I mean, if it's Netflix, it's not really TV. But I actually kind of wanted a more violent Punisher. I was actually a little let down by the fact that a lot of the violence was off screen, was done just with sound effects. I wanted a more violent Punisher.
Yeah, and because we were set up with that in Daredevil Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
When Frank Castle is in and he obliterates the prison, he gets into the fight with Wilson Fisk and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the way he killed Blacksmith and waged, right, like, we were set for something kind of epic in that way. Now, the other controversy is there are a lot of people that really liked this. I think that there was too many episodes. And I'm going to start with the first one, which was episode 1. Because episode 1 did not set it. I was confused throughout why we were having this discussion about Frank Castle's death. Because we never knew that I never knew when did Castle die? Air quote die.
Yeah, there's kind of an offbeat mention of it at the end of season 2 of Daredevil where they kind of faux kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, and it's kind of a more of a nod to the comics because that's what happens to him in the comics. In the comics, he becomes Pete Castelloni.
Yeah,
and I feel like if you're a comic book reader, if you like, that was a big nod to you. But I also feel like it was their reset button on Punisher because the problem is if you brought season 2 Daredevil Punisher into this standalone season or standalone show, you're going to have too brutal of a Punisher off the bat, and you're only going to get 6 episodes. But I feel like they should have only done 6 episodes, so I would have been good with it.
Yeah. Because I think that's what people were excited about, is you brought this character to life, which was one of the highlights of Daredevil Season 2, no question. And John Berthel has done a fantastic job with this character.
So good.
And brought him in, but we were kind of left, I was this This is Punisher is getting peanut butter and jam sandwiches stepped on, and he's not doing a frickin' thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just thinking back from the comics, I mean, I was thinking about this whole time. I'm not a big, voracious Punisher reader, but I've read some Punisher. And there's kind of 3 different Punishers out there. There's the Punisher who is almost Batman-like. You know, he's only ever steps in the Punisher's shoes when vengeance is needed and justice needs to be doled out. There's the Punisher that is trying to escape his past, and just the past keeps catching up to him. And then there's the Psycho Punisher. And I feel like they were really going with the first or second Punisher. Because we need that as an audience. We need the Punisher we can relate to. I was just thinking about, we got the Thomas Jane, the previous Punisher, and then we have Ray Stevenson, Punisher from Warzone. Those were 2 very different Punishers. And I feel they got close to the Thomas Jane Punisher of the hero, rather than the Ray Stevenson of the Psycho. And for me, when his sandwich gets stepped on and he puts up with it, he puts up for it like 2 or 3 episodes of just kind of getting kicked around before he shows up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, they needed to backpedal this Punisher to build the story.
Right, yeah. And my problem was there already was a story. There already was this idea of we knew who this guy was coming in, if you were following along on Marvel. If you were like, well, I don't know who this guy is, and I'm just checking it out, and maybe.
Yeah.
But, I didn't feel it needed that rebuild. Now, there's someone would say the army slowness of this and the PTSD and the story around building around your characters of Lewis Wilson and Mandani and Sam and the FBI and building that story around it, I thought, yeah, I think that was good, but the way that they developed Punisher at the start, I felt left me, I was not overwhelmed.
I'm not sure it was needed. I think it was, for me personally, it wasn't needed. I would have been very happy with a Punisher who just kind of shows up. I think they should have opened the season with David Lieberman fighting Punisher. Like, I would have skipped all the intro nonsense of, oh, he's still alive and he's trying to live. Who cares? None of us care about that.
Yeah.
And it's one of my big compliments to Marvel is that they've kind of backed away from doing massive origin stories each time. Because either you know the characters or you don't care.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, I don't care that he's trying to live his peaceful little life because I know he's going to lose it at some point.
Yeah.
We're never going to see Peter Castelloni again. We need, because otherwise the series doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I felt they should have opened with David Lieberman, and they should have had that character tracking down the Punisher to get this revenge story going.
Yeah. And once Lieberman entered, it kind of turned a little bit up.
Yep.
It cranked up. And I can't remember who the character Lieberman was played by.
Oh, I have it right here. His name is Eben Moss-Bachrach.
Okay, because he did a really good job.
He's great.
He was great in terms of, you wanted to hate him, but you grew into loving this guy because you understood what he was all about. Yeah, it's a little awkward that he has a camera in his family's house, but you understand why he has a camera in his family's house.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's funny because Microchip as a character is not a character you're supposed to like.
Yeah.
He's awful in the comics, but you love him in this, and you want to see him succeed. And I feel he was necessary because Punisher didn't have enough stakes.
Yeah.
Frank Castle didn't have high enough stakes for us to care for 13 episodes. But you throw David Lieberman in,
Yeah.
you throw this family in, and suddenly we have stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that the family story wasn't high stakes for Castle, but it wasn't high. It wasn't enough necessarily because we knew that story. It was there needed to be, and I think that they did well in terms of adding some stuff in there, but it got a little confusing. But they did wrap it up in the end. The other thing that I thought was also a little bit too late, and I kind of understood why they did it, was the development of Billy Russo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I understood why we needed to wait to the second half to really get to know Billy Russo, and the slow development, I think, worked, but that was another 2 episodes that we could have...
Yeah. I would have had Billy Russo front and center immediately.
Mm-hmm.
There was... I kind of didn't realize... and how close he was to the Castle family until that episode where he's like, and I'm like, oh, you really were, I thought you were just an army buddy.
Yeah.
That would have meant something to me.
To
have him be this very close connection to Frank Castle, and then we learned he turned on Frank Castle, that
was huge.
was huge. But you're right, it came so late that I was like, oh, okay, now I'm catching up to how close you two were, but now I don't really care.
Yeah, because I'm going to beat you. He's going to beat you to within an inch of your life. And,
Yeah, we know this already. He was already going to do that, and yeah, we shouldn't have had to play catch up as the audience.
yeah,
And for me, I think they should have dropped the Billy Russo stuff in way earlier.
yeah,
And made it a bigger deal.
yeah. And Mandani. What did you think of Mandani?
One, fantastic character.
Yeah,
She, to me, is what I want to see out of female characters.
yeah,
Where they are strong, they're independent. She was almost a little too angry all the time, but I'm kind of cool with it because usually that's so reserved for like hot-headed young cop.
yeah,
It's like such a male role. But one thing I want to point out, she looks like an FBI agent,
Yeah.
which to me is a huge thing. I don't like watching shows where it's like, oh, you're a badass FBI agent, but you're like 90 pounds soaking wet.
yeah,
She looks like she can throw down,
yeah,
which I totally appreciated. And I totally appreciated that she, doesn't back down. She didn't let anybody talk over her. She was a great pairing to the Punisher
mm-hmm,
with her sense of justice versus his sense of justice.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought she did a really good job. I think you could actually spin her off in her own series.
Now, so funny enough, I was talking to somebody else about this, where we had the three women at the end of we had three women at the end of Defenders, whose names for some reason are all slipping out of my mind. I wonder if they're going to do an all female spinoff.
Maybe
'Cause
Misty Knight, just Colleen Wig,
Yeah.
and not Night Nurse.
Well, maybe.
But you're talking. Well, I don't know if is that who you're talking about, or are you talking about
Yeah.
Jessica
Well, because,
Jones's friend?
Her as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be a large. So yeah, Colleen Wig is the big because Colleen Wig and the Misty Knight are a Marvel series on their own.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
are their own series.
Yeah.
And it's a great series. It's really well done, and so I wonder if they're going to go that direction. Because I think Marvel's been great on kind of taking risks with unknown characters.
Yeah.
Not unknown, sorry, I shouldn't say that, but characters who haven't had a lot of limelight in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you could set her but I don't even know if Mandani needs Colleen or Misty Knight. I mean, they could say hello, nice to meet you, but her story versus Jigsaw would be an interesting story because we're getting too far into the end here too early, maybe. But I mean, she has a story versus Jigsaw. She also, I think, you have a story versus her story versus the FBI. And you think that there's that one cover up, but there's probably other cover ups. She never really solved her case.
Yeah.
Not really. She kind of did, but she didn't.
She figured out who the players were, but never really took down the organization.
Right. Yeah. So you could spin that off.
Mm.
Yeah, she was a pleasant surprise
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. And when she was on, I was enjoying her scenes. And I thought her relationship with Billy Russo really tied everything really well.
Yeah.
What
a sense of betrayal we all felt. I think we all really wanted that to work out.
Yeah.
A part of us all knew Billy was going to... Huge spoilers. Billy's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But, man, we kind of wanted to see happiness there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But can you imagine if in some way you still had Mandani believing in Billy Russo?
Well, I mean, he's going on to be Jigsaw.
Yeah.
So that's dead.
You can't do it. But, I mean,
No.
could you... Yeah. Add that into the Jigsaw story?
You see, what I kind of like about her is, there's always this level of unrelenting compassion with female characters. We saw with Karen, right? Karen never let go of... I like that Mandani's like, no, screw it. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
And I like that about her. I like that she has that blanket sense of vengeance in
Yeah.
her. Almost comparable, like I said, to the Punisher, but she still stays on the right side of the law.
Yeah. I thought it was... Yeah, that was really good. Let's bring in Karen here. Now, one of the things that they did not do is address Matt Murdock in this series.
No.
And who we've assumed is dead. We know is laying in a epic comic book legendary scene at the end of Defenders.
Mm-hmm.
They teased the Castle Karen Page love story. They teased it. They didn't do it.
Yep.
Was there enough Karen Page for you?
Well, and this is going to sound terrible. Deborah Ann Wolfe. I've never seen any of her other work. She's one of my least favorite characters.
Oh.
I could have been just as happy not having her in the series. Although, that being said, the alternative would have been bringing in Foggy, and Foggy is my least favorite. It kind of goes Foggy, then Karen. I think they're the two weakest links in the series. She, however, she has gotten better, in my opinion, through Defenders and even in this series. But I really didn't need her. The whole side story with her being this, ultra liberal but sort of right new, that's not necessary for me. I didn't need any of her storyline in this series.
Did she move the Lewis Wilson story forward in any way?
I mean, a little bit, but there could have been alternatives to do that better. I didn't need her to do it. In fact, the Lewis Wilson story, it's a great story. It's a great commentary piece, but I think it wasted time in this series. Like I said, for me, this series didn't need to be 13 episodes. It could have been 6, and his was a waste of time, in my opinion. I get that we were supposed to care, that we were supposed to see this big revelation about PTSD and gun ownership, but who cares? I want to watch Punisher hit people.
Yeah, okay. So, but it was, I guess, the attempt to tie in everybody into the Marvel family was Karen Page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have brought back Rosie O'Dawson.
She's been fantastic.
I know. This is the only series she's not in.
Yeah. She's been unbelievable.
Yeah. I would have brought her in to, do one patch-up job of the Punisher.
Yeah, when he was dying and they brought Kurt. Yeah. That was the time to bring her in.
Yeah, at some point. I would have used her to remind the universe. She is by far, I think, one of the strongest actors throughout the entire universe. But she's the most underrated, I think. It's weird.
I think so. Yeah.
It's funny how she's probably the most knowledgeable, but they always ignore her.
Yeah.
I would have brought her back.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And there would have been there were opportunities to do that.
Yeah.
I think. Let's go through the other characters here. Sarah and the family.
Yes, which was cool.
That was very cool. And I loved the subtle love triangle, which they couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And what I thought she did so well was bring out the honor in the Punisher.
Yes.
That's almost brought him to this heroic point. Because he never knew for the longest time that Micro had the camera. And he was still trying to be as honest as he possibly could.
Mm. Oh, did he know? I thought he knew right out the way.
Not necessarily. I don't think he...
I think he did. Because I think he comments on it, how creepy it is when he first meets Micro.
Yeah.
Because Micro, I think it's one of the big ways that Micro swings Frank Castle is, by the way, here's the family I'm trying to get back to. Mm. And then in that that episode where Micro gets the upper hand, which I love that Micro got the upper hand on Frank Castle, which is awesome. He sends Frank off because he's like, "Look, there's something going on in my house. Please go."
Yeah.
And Frank Castle and the family of Sarah was such a great bit of side. To me, that's the only side story we needed. Mm-hmm. Was the family, because it rehumanized Frank Castle for us.
Yeah, that was good. She did a really nice job. The kids were great. The whole conversation with him and can't remember the son's name off the top of my head.
Zach Lieberman.
Yeah,
by Cody Frumer.
Well, yeah, he'll be famous for sure. Probably he'll be in Stranger Things 4.
Yeah,
mark it, book it. It's gonna happen.
He's coming. He's coming to
Stranger Things.
I think his only problem is he's got bully face.
Well, you put him as a villain.
Yeah. I just bet that kid, he's going to play a bully for years.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, do it.
Yeah. So that was, I thought that story was great. The vulnerability of that. Colonel Tripp.
Right.
I enjoyed him. He showed such a, this high expectation of what a guy that's coming out of the army, should be. He was sort of the conscience in a lot of ways, kind of the Rev of Punisher. Mm-hmm. And then we share his vulnerability with the Lewis Wilson story when he gets beaten with his own leg.
Right.
And
so you're talking Curtis Hoyle, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to make sure everybody knows Curtis Hoyle. I don't because he called him Colonel Tripp.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think that might be more common, but he's known as Curtis Hoyle. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same
page. Yeah, Curtis Hoyle.
I had to double check myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great character.
Yeah.
I like that they really opened him up with this strong notion, but then closed him off with such vulnerability.
Yeah.
For me, he's all we needed when doing the commentary on soldiers. I don't think we needed Lewis.
Yeah, so you thought Lewis was completely unnecessary.
I mean, I want to point out, when talking about Lewis, that the actor Daniel Weber, he blew me away. I actually tweeted at him and just said, man, I'm watching your scenes. You're blowing me away. You're fantastic. Yeah. I would have done almost a standalone solo indie film just about this character. No, not anything Marvel related, but it was unnecessary for the show. And so that's not a commentary on the actors or anything like that. The commentary is more like, why? Why did we have this huge story arc that didn't really lead to anything? Except
the end where they were like, okay, Billy Russo, Lewis Wilson are going to be the suspects going forward. That, I guess, was the thing. And they did something really unique in episode 10 where they shot from different angles, which was interesting, which was an interesting way to do that. So I guess in that sense, I don't think he was completely unnecessary, but it was a plot because that also took way too long to get to anything significant with him.
Yeah, and I also was I was like, oh, he's gone from being this kind of broken PTSD soldier to being the Unabomber? Like, yeah. I mean, I guess. His motivations to me weren't clear, and I mean, if he's just crazy, he's just crazy. Great. That makes sense. But if it's supposed to be a commentary piece, and I don't know if he can just be crazy, and I think they had to choose. They either had to choose the story of the Punisher or choose this story of Lewis.
Yeah.
To me, he was not... I think they were trying to set him up as like, oh, he's another version of the Punisher. What the Punisher could have been. Like, no, not really. He's not the same tier.
Yeah, it's a different tier. Yeah. Yeah. Who am I missing? Well, let's... Agent Orange.
Yep.
I enjoyed all the scenes he was in.
Should bring him up here. Yeah, well, Daniel Schutz.
Yeah.
Rollins. He's just creepy.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And I think he encapsulated that whole notion of the bureaucrat pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And there's not a point where you don't dislike him.
Yeah.
He's almost cartoony villain. That moment where he walks to the tent and all the guys are being bandaged up and they've all just lost brothers. And he's just like, did you do the job? It's like, you're a cartoon, man.
Yeah. But, Castle belts him. Yeah.
Yeah. And immediately we know, bad guy.
Yeah.
Boom. Perfect. Love it.
Yeah.
And he just sets up that perfect dichotomy. He's almost the antithesis of Castle, where he has no honor.
Yeah.
He uses his position for self-gain. But then at the same time, he's also still pro-America. This is what America needs. America, needed my heroin trade. And he justifies it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So him, Billy Russo. Did we talk about him?
A little bit, but I think we need to talk more about Billy Russo.
Yeah.
So Ben Barnes.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Just so good. I mean, I am often... This sounds terrible. I'm often skeptical of very good-looking actors. Because I feel like, how hard have you had to work? That's just me being personally jealous of very good-looking actors. But...
Oh, you're good-looking.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But Ben Barnes, man, he just... The range that he puts just through his... I don't think... At some point, I was like... Even when I knew he was the bad guy, I was like, please redeem yourself.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was going to become Jigsaw later. Did you know?
Yeah, I kind of... I thought when they were starting to build... You started to see the mirrors.
Yeah.
They were hinting... They're building the hint to Jigsaw.
Yeah.
But...
I thought he was going to have a turnaround redemption until he shot Monty.
Yeah.
Until he shot her. And even then, I thought, oh no, is he going to have a moment of like, oh, I shot this woman who I actually kind of genuinely care about. I wanted him to be redeemed the whole time.
Yeah. But he's going to be such a fantastic villain.
So good.
So,
So aggressively good. And I like that he's Punisher's equal in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
He's not like Batman versus Joker where they're two very different ends of a spectrum. The two of them are equally matched. He's Punisher's, he was Punisher's ally at one point, and watching them square off is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and when they had the end fight, it was a pretty equal end fight until Punisher,
gets those final moments. What
were some of your favorite scenes? What were some of the things that...
Well, so for me, I love Punisher. I love Psycho Punisher.
Mhm.
I think he's such a great contrast to the Spider-Mans and the Captain Americas of the Marvel Universe. So anytime Punisher was losing it, going crazy, like when he's defending him in Micro's lab against like 16 guys, and
Yeah.
he's just murdering them nonstop. To me, that's a great scene. When he finally turns the tables on those construction guys. And
Yeah.
I sat there really, because at that point, I wasn't sure if they were going to go balls out Punisher. I thought, oh my God, are they going to keep him quiet? And, you know, he hits people but doesn't kill them. And then he throws them in the cement. I'm like, thank you. Perfect. I have faith now that this is going to be a great series. And then, like I said, when he mangles Billy's face. And because that's who the Punisher is. He's not, even though he was originally supposed to be called the Assassin, he's not an assassin. He's not a killer. He's a Punisher. He does kill people, but I think when he punishes people, that's the more severe character.
For me, we'll play one of the poignant ones at the end, but the whole dream sequence with his wife was really well done. And then, when he said, "I'm already home," that whole debate about what he was going to do. The Lewis Wilson, I know that this was not, you didn't feel it was necessary, but the whole, like, the guy that was scamming Lewis Wilson, that I think was good. The Mandanny Russo love story, the Mandanny Samuel relationship, which pivots Mandanny when Sam dies, and Russo kills him. And then that whole part where he comes, that whole scene too, where Mandanny's sitting in the bathtub and Russo's rubbing her back.
Give him chills.
I was like,
me too. I was blown away.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on, excuse me, touch on one thing you brought up, the O'Connor story.
Yeah.
When it came to Lewis Wilson. Like I said, for me, that Lewis Wilson thing should be an independent film on its own right. Because that O'Connor bit, where he turns out to be this kind of scammy, Vietnam... No, he's not even from Vietnam, but this kook, right?
Yeah.
Was just awesome.
Yeah, it was.
What a great moment where you see him go get revenge. And like I said, I think that the Lewis stuff should be its own movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What else was there?
The dream sequences for me were good, but I think a little much. I don't think I needed them. So I didn't need to watch an entire sex scene. I didn't need to. Because the problem was But
there was an interesting parallel though with the sex scene to how he looked at violence.
Yes,
because it was his turn on. It was his orgasm.
Yeah, and violence and sex are the same thing in film.
Yeah,
they talk about that in pretentious film studies classes.
Yes,
the same thing.
Yes. I've taken them. Not that I, not that I found them pretentious or anything.
I minored in it, so
well, there we go.
I know all about it. But yeah, sex and violence. I think one of the things I wanted more of was I wanted more backstory Punisher. More seeing the family. I love that it wasn't a perfect family. That there was fighting, conflict, and it wasn't perfect. And to me, I was like, yes, great. I didn't need the uber superhero tragic backstory of perfect family loss. Yeah. He was a broken man. He was always a broken man, and that just carried through in his Punisher persona.
Yeah. Is there any other scenes that we need to?
Well, there's the Thanksgiving scene, that weird dream sequence, where he's at Thanksgiving dinner with Micro. That was heartbreaking. Yeah. And to me, that defined a level of the show where they picked the perfect way to make you connect to Frank Castle. Because as an audience member, you're watching and you have hope. You have hope for Frank Castle. Will he get together with Karen? Will him and Micro's family? But that can never happen. He can never go back. And I'm hoping, going forward, he continues to kind of fall down this dark hole and become Psycho Punisher. And you watch him fade away, and he never comes back. Which is, to me, that's the best Punisher.
Like, he remains psycho.
Yeah, he kind of starts to lose it. I'm talking like Punisher from Civil War, who shoots a guy in front of Captain America, levels of crazy. That's an awesome scene where you're like, oh my god, like, you know Captain America doesn't put up with this, but you're willing to go toe-to-toe with Captain America just to get your vengeance off a criminal you have nothing to do with. Perfect. And I think that's the level of Frank Castle we're going to need when he goes up against the Hand, which I think is next.
Okay, so we're let's go where we're going next.
Yeah.
So last final moments after Castle doesn't kill Billy Russo. He says, I'm not going to let you die.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you live.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you remember all of the things that you've done.
Yeah.
And he bashes him enough that I'm like, you keep doing this, he's probably going to die, but you bashed his brains enough.
Give him brain damage. I think the Hand is going to resurrect Billy Russo.
Yes, I think that's what I foresee. So let's touch on what the Jigsaw moment is going to be, because they set that up so well. We're going down the Jigsaw path. You see him bandaged. You have Jigsaw. You can set that relationship up with Wilson Fisk.
Yep.
Who, remember, it was Wilson Fisk that got Castle out.
Yep.
In Daredevil Season 2. So that relationship in the comics works well. The Hand can play a part in this. I don't know what is left of the Hand after Defenders, because we know Sigourney Weaver is gone. You probably could bring back Madame Gao, because she's just fits so well. She was one of the highlights of Iron Fist.
So good.
Yeah, she's so good at that role.
One of the few highlights of Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Which was the worst.
Yeah, it was all, like... It just doesn't fit into the Defenders.
I think that's who Punisher should go after next, is just the entirety of Iron Fist.
Yeah, just beat up Iron Fist.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and put him in. I will be in the Defenders now!
Yeah. I think the only way, because I don't think Frank Castle will ever be truly part of the Defenders team.
Yeah.
That's just not Punisher. He can't be next to Luke Cage and murdering people left, right, and center, right? But I think the Hand is going to come back. I think they're going to bring back Billy Russo. I think they're going to go through an effort of bringing back all the villains that have now been killed. Mm-hmm. And then I think they're going to kill Karen. And that's going to be what brings
the other story with Karen is she turns alcoholic in the Daredevil comics.
Doesn't in a Marvel.
That's true. But, you've got that Matt Murdock, Frank Castle, Karen Page love story that you could still tell if you keep Karen alive.
Yeah.
If you kill her, you can build that Castle-Murdoch relationship.
I think it's what brings... Because otherwise, what are you going to do? You can't bring Punisher and Murdoch together again. You can't bring Frank Castle and Matt Murdock together again, because Matt Murdock won't put up with Punisher's crap.
Right.
But if you kill Karen...
Yeah, that could bring them together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to throw a off-the-cuff one, because you talked about Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
They did tease in the Defenders. And some of the best scenes in the Defenders were Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
And not Daredevil Jessica Jones, but Matt Murdock Jessica Jones. Now, there is a potential love triangle with Matt, Frank, and Jessica. Frank and Jessica would work so well together.
I don't know, because she still has this complete level of honor to her, despite being an alcoholic, crazy person.
But Frank has a level of honor to him.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be great to see, but I don't think they're going to do it. I think
you're probably right. I always have these outlandish ideas in my brain. Yeah.
I think it's going to be Karen.
Yeah.
Out of all the women, I think one of the strengths of Jessica Jones is at no point is she kind of brought down by any of the male characters.
Yeah.
I think Marvel has noted that. To make her the damsel, even if she's not a damsel, to make her the damsel in any story would take away so much the credit.
It's true. Yeah. And Karen's more damsel-y in character. Right?
Yeah. And she's becoming less damsel-y. Mm-hmm. It's good for her. But I think part of me is just hoping she gets killed, because I can't stand her on camera.
Oh. I know. I don't think they're going to do it, though. I'm sorry. I think she's going to live.
It would be neat if they killed her off and then the Hand brought her back as evil Karen.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, what do you do with Elektra?
Yeah. What happened to Elektra at the end of the... Because her and Matt are both in that
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem with Elektra... It's funny that Elektra has never been a good character in any of her iterations. She's been a hard sell.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to get rid of her.
You didn't like her in Defenders?
She's okay. Just she didn't blow me away. I wasn't heartbroken that Elektra is dead, or it wasn't... I just didn't care about Elektra. I mean, I care more about Matt Murdock and Jessica Jones than I do
Elektra.
Yeah. I don't think they built that relationship well enough.
With Matt and Elektra?
Yeah.
It was such an unhealthy relationship, and it's such an unhealthy choice that Matt Murdock makes at the end when he's kissing her and they die.
Yeah, and you're like, why, man? I feel like you could have...
Yeah.
Do you love her that much? I think that was lost on me.
Yeah.
A big part of that was I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
And even in the Daredevil Ben Affleck, the one...
Yeah, that awful one.
Terrible. Like, And then they do the Elektra spin-off and no one cared about
Yeah.
it. Elektra's a hard sell.
True. Yeah. I liked this version of Elektra better than Jennifer Garner's version of Elektra.
Oh, like, for sure.
Yeah. But, there is stuff that you could potentially do. It really is going to come down to me, we talked about this when we talked about Justice League. What's your end goal with these Marvel series? What's the end, right? What are we building towards?
Well, the hard part is, you've got the Avengers movies, which, thank God they're connecting them.
Yeah.
Good for them, right?
Yeah.
And so you're going to have Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk, and Captain America go fight in the Infinity War.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Good for them. That's going to be cool. But now you've got the street level.
Mm-hmm.
Who's left, right? Who's left for them to fight? And you've got the Hand, who can come back with a big upswing. But I think we're running out of Marvel series. We're running out of seasons.
Yeah.
Because one of the big differences between, Marvel and DC is they don't have that monster of the week, bad guy of the week formula.
Yeah.
They've got the overarching season storylines. And they're running out of bad guys.
You could still build Kingpin up.
Yeah, Wilson Fisk, come back.
Because he's not Kingpin yet.
Yeah.
You got that. It would feel hokey that it just is always the Hand.
Yeah.
It would just get a little too tiring that you're facing one villain. You need to build another.
I just wonder who they're going to fight next. Who can they step up to in the Marvel Universe? And I think it has to be Wilson Fisk or the Hand. And that's it, right?
Right.
And maybe the Hand and Wilson Fisk team up a little bit.
And Wilson Fisk and Jigsaw team up a bit.
Yeah. We're going to get Bullseye.
Yeah.
I want a Bullseye back.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
Right? I think we're going to start getting the collection of villains coming together. And then it's going to be, rather than fighting the faceless ninjas, we're going to get villains, which is going to be sweet.
Yeah. So, next I think we're on... The next would probably be... It's not going to be Iron Fist. That's 2019. And if they do it, there's a 60% chance that it will be Iron Fist Luke Cage.
Which it should have been in the first place. I mean, I liked Luke Cage, but even Luke Cage was a little long. I would have done an entire series of where you start in like the Bronx, Harlem, Luke Cage, and then the next episode is Upper Manhattan, Iron Fist, back and forth until the two of them connect.
Okay. That might be what they do. You got Jessica Jones in 2018. I don't know what the plan is. The Daredevil's probably 2018.
Let me bring it up here.
Okay, we're interneting as we go.
Well, let's have a look. And that's the one. I don't know if I want more standalone seasons. I think they have to be team-ups. Like, I don't need another season of Punisher. I don't know about you, but I don't need another season of Punisher. Do you?
Well, the way they ended it is I'm scared, so you've got to build him... You got to tell the story of him not fighting a war and getting into another war.
Yeah.
So you can bring that addiction to violence story in.
Ooh, that'd be cool. If he kind of loses it,
and
they have to bring him back.
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
I'd watch that. Or what if his violence led to something terrible? Like he blows up a building, but it kills innocents, and then the Defenders have to go try to stop Punisher.
There isn't there a Defenders versus Punisher comic series?
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I would watch the heck out of that. I would like to see them square off again.
Yeah.
Now that we care more about Punisher, I think it'd be...
Okay, I'm pulling up here too, so we're interneting as we go.
Oh no. Now, this might be weird. I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. connected to this Marvel TV series?
No, it's more connected to the Avengers story.
Okay, so they're in the same universe, but they're all still in the same universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be sweet to have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show up.
Yeah.
Especially if the Avengers go off to fight in the Infinity War, and suddenly Earth is kind of left with the scrub heroes.
Yeah.
And so the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has to team up with the scrub heroes to stop something epic.
Yeah, that's true. That could be. Yeah.
That would be super cool. I would so be on board with that.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden if they become the heroes for hire.
Well, that's Luke and Iron Fist, isn't it?
Right. But if they get them all together and they become the heroes for hire, and then, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have to hire them to come be their heroes.
Okay, yeah, we're pulling this up here.
Because we got a lot of Marvel right now. Like
yes.
Inhumans.
Inhumans, yeah. I haven't seen that a lot.
And we got The Gifted.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. Okay, Netflix 2018 Marvel lineup revealed. Let's go through this. So new seasons for Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage set for 2018. So season 2 of Jessica Jones is in production. Luke Cage and Daredevil is on its way to film. It was supposed to be done after The Defenders. Start filming there. Let's see. We are getting Jessica. It looks like the order is going to be Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil. So Jessica Jones, it is expected. My understanding is all of those series will be directed by, all those episodes will be directed by a woman, which is great. I think that's the first time that that's ever been done in an episodic series. And then Luke Cage, which probably will get a lot more Iron Fist. And then Daredevil. Now, I think what would be interesting with Jessica Jones is how much are they going to put Defenders and all of these in there? Because she wasn't completely necessary. Well, she was necessary in the Defenders for so many reasons, but her story isn't hand-related, right? Her story is Kilgrave related.
Right.
Yeah.
Does it tell you what season 2 of Jessica Jones is going to be about?
Not yet.
Because what if it'd be neat if her season was about Punisher, right?
Yeah.
That's how they brought Punisher back into the series with Jessica Jones, or if she teams up with Colleen and Misty Knight, and they form that all-female detective agency.
Right. Yeah.
That would be cool.
All that is said is Kristen Ritter warns everyone to cancel their weekend plans because you will not be able to start watching until the very end. There is a scene with her and Trish having a run-in with the police. And there was the question of what they're doing with Kilgrave. Because is it going to be back scenes with her and him in her mind, or what?
Because he's back on set. They've confirmed that.
They've confirmed that, yeah.
Which is almost too bad. I hope they don't bring him back.
Yeah, you can't bring him back, in real life. And you can't even twin Kilgrave. That's ridiculous.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about Jessica Jones. As a comic book fan, I don't know anything. I know that she's Jewel.
Yeah.
And she's sort of a superhero. And then she kind of gives up being Jewel to go become just regular Jessica Jones. Will we see her fall back into being Jewel? I think that'd be too weird.
Yeah.
I think they're going to team her up with the ladies, and it's going to become a female detective agency.
Maybe. But yeah, who knows? And then Luke Cage, I would suspect that will be more adding to the Iron Fist story. If they recast Iron Fist,
they won't recast.
They won't recast him. I know that there was talk about that, but I don't think that they'll do it. But they'll have to reconstruct a lot of different things.
It's amazing how terrible Finn Jones was.
It's amazing how he responded to why he was so terrible.
What did he say?
He said people didn't like him because of Donald Trump. What? He said because of American Billionaire and that whole theme and Donald... No. I didn't even think of Donald Trump when I was watching this. The problem, he was too babyish.
It was really boring.
Yeah.
It was like, you're the immortal Iron Fist. Get over your crap.
Yeah.
That might not be Finn Jones' fault. That might be the writer's
fault. Yeah.
But I feel like as an actor, you could have sold it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope they team him up with Luke Cage, and Luke Cage toughens him up.
Yeah. And then you can maybe maybe depending on that, you can build him into his own series.
I really hope they don't do another Iron. I hope we don't separate them all again. I don't need separate seasons anymore. Even Jessica Jones, which I loved and thought was amazing. I'm not sure if I need a standalone season 2, just Jessica Jones doing her own thing. I think I need the universe in there.
I think you can do. I think what they'll do is they'll keep Jessica Jones and Daredevil separate.
Well, then I want them to bring in Misty Knight or Chris, or like any of those characters.
Yeah.
It's same with Punisher season 2, as I don't need another full season of GS Punisher.
Yeah, he needs some people in there.
I want them to meld together.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing the end of the Marvel TV universe. I think they're going to coincide it with the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, which is 2019.
Yeah, I think they're going to come all to a head probably 2020.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then we're going to be done with this insane superhero dump.
Yes. And then we'll need another one.
Well, we need to go back to something else like pirates or zombies or something.
Yeah. Johnny Depp will have a revitalization.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's why Marvel and Fox especially are dumping all their products right now.
Mm-hmm.
We were just getting flooded with superhero stuff. Runaways, The Gifted, Inhumans, and it's a little overwhelming. Yeah. But I think it's because they're bringing it to an end.
Yeah. So, out of 10, what did you grade this?
I would give this one probably a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I would have given it higher had I not had to sit through all the stuff I didn't care about.
Okay. And in terms of where do you put it on your Marvel episode list?
You know what? I still say Jessica Jones, my favorite. Then season 2 of Daredevil. Probably season 1 of Daredevil. Then Punisher. Then Luke Cage. Then Iron Fist. And then Iron Fist at the bottom, of course.
Okay.
And then Defenders. Sorry, Defenders is... I forgot to include it. Defenders probably sits between Daredevil season 1 and 2.
Okay. For me, I'll give it a 7. I thought John Berthel is the perfect casting of the Punisher. He's got it right in so many ways.
Yeah.
The casting of Billy Russo was excellent. His relationship with Mandani was great. There were so many good performances in this, but it was a little too long, and it just started too slow, and it frustrated me. And I think you could have done this in 10 other than 13, but I think really well done. And I would probably put it just under I think it's Daredevil season 2, Jessica Jones, season 1 of Daredevil, Luke Cage, probably over the Defenders. I have to think about that, and Punisher. I think it's in that realm. Mm-hmm. It is better than Iron Fist.
I feel so bad. We're just right.
Sorry about that Iron Fist.
It's one of those other. The Iron Fist was actually kind of great, except for anything to do with Finn Jones. Every other character was awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel almost terrible saying it, but like, had we had a different path with Finn Jones, it would have been a great show.
Yeah.
Marvel is great casting.
Yes, that's where they have an edge on DC, is their casting choices.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It really is. Like, I still don't know if I put Ben Affleck as the best Batman. I have to think about that. I know Mitch thinks that, but I don't know about that.
But even just looking at the TV universes, I think the big difference is Marvel went ahead and said, let's take the best actor and not the best looking actor.
Yeah.
And, John Bernthal, he's a sexy man, but he's not the best. He's no Thomas Jane, right?
No.
And, even you look at, Ebony Moss, David Lieberman, he's not good. Like, nobody's good looking unless they're specifically good looking Billy Russo, right?
Yeah.
The only weak casting is Foggy, Karen, and Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And so you're doing like 3 out of, 20. That's pretty good number.
That's not bad. Yeah. Not bad. And Foggy's okay. But, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining. We're going to close off with one of my poignant scenes in this. We'll give you a little bit of it. Keep an eye out. So, how do we follow you, Hans?
If you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at Hans Von Doom. Check out my IMDb, Hans Potter.
Yes.
Just like the Wizard. Easy to find.
Yeah.
On that, I got 2 movies coming up.
We got to talk about those.
Yeah, 3 Hours Till Dead is out. You can go rent it right now. Good holiday flick. It's not. It's about zombies. And then January 25th.
If you think zombies is part of the holiday theme.
Yeah, that's right. And then January 25th, or somewhere between January 25th and January 30th, Bigfoot Country comes out.
Okay.
And that's going to be on all major platforms, except for Netflix and Hulu. They need to get on that. Get that Canadian content.
Yes, that's a future conversation. Canadian content.
That's right.
Future Canadian media. Follow me on Facebook, Kevin Olenick, Twitter, KEVOLE, Instagram, KEVOLE, And it is Giving Tuesday, so if I do mention my Patreon account, Kevin Olenick, you can join there as well. Feel free. Thanks for listening. Hope we didn't punish you. Get it? We will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.
Let's go home.